I built an
You are
empire worth
fired.
billions, then handed it to an intern for 30 days. I thought it was a
You
joke
are
until
fired.
she saved it and fired me. Now let me tell you how this incredible story unfolded. Subscribe, share your heart in the comments, and tell me where you're watching from, because your support keeps these stories alive. Now, let's begin. The glass walls of Crosstech Tower shimmered against the gray New York sky, beautiful from a distance, brittle up close. Inside the corner office, Ethan Cross stared at the quarterly report glowing on his 8K screen. Profits, down 47%. Share value, free fall. Investor confidence, evaporating. It was supposed to be impossible. Crosstech was once the envy of Silicon Alley. Luxury smart tech products, sleek branding, and a charismatic CEO who could sell a dream to Wall Street. But dreams don't pay dividends. And for the first time in his life, Ethan was scared. His board was circling like sharks. His CFO had just quit. His ex-co-founder, Julia, had gone to the press, calling him a dictator in a designer suit. He loosened his tie and muttered, "They all want a savior. There isn't one." Across the floor, Amara Lewis adjusted her headset, quietly processing the chaos. 24, a recent graduate from Howard University, she'd been an intern for just 2 months. Invisible, unheard, and wildly overqualified. Her desk was small, but her mind wasn't. Every day, she saw the mistakes no one else dared to mention. The outdated pricing model, the neglected younger market, the silence between executives who'd stopped caring. She'd made notes, dozens of them. She called it the revival file. That morning, Ethan's assistant stormed out of the boardroom in tears. The meeting had gone badly. Again, investors demanded a miracle by the next quarter. Ethan followed, his voice cold. "We're done pretending. Maybe I should let the interns take over. They seem to have all the answers these days." The room fell silent. Laughter rippled nervously. Amara looked up from her screen and, without thinking, spoke. "Maybe that's not a bad idea," she said quietly. Heads turned. Ethan's gaze cut through her like glass. "What did you just say?" She stood, heart pounding. "You keep talking about innovation, sir, but your company hasn't launched anything new in 2 years. You're protecting what's dying instead of building what's next." A stunned silence. Then Ethan laughed, short, sharp, mocking. "Brilliant. So what's your genius solution?" "Intern. Rebuild trust," she said. "Inside and outside. Your customers are talking, you're not listening." His jaw tightened, equal parts insulted and intrigued. "And you'd fix all that in a month?" "If you gave me the chance," she said, her voice steady now. The boardroom buzzed. Ethan smirked. "Fine. You want Crosstech? You've got it. For 1 month. You're the CEO." Gasps. Whispers. Amara froze. "I'll have HR formalize it," he added. "Let's see if empathy can pay the bills." He left before she could answer. That night, Amara sat in her small apartment, laptop glowing. She didn't see a joke. She saw an opportunity. She began drafting her 30-day turnaround plan. She leaned back and whispered, "If he wants a show, I'll give him one." Outside, the city pulsed like a living heartbeat. And somewhere above those lights, Ethan Cross had no idea the intern he mocked was about to save his empire. If someone mocked you with a challenge like this, would you take it or walk away? Comment below, what would you do if you had 30 days to prove the world wrong? The first Monday of Amara's reign felt like walking into enemy territory. Executives in tailored suits whispered as she passed. Some smiled, most didn't. Ethan's mocking promotion had traveled through the building like wildfire. People expected a collapse, not a comeback. Amara took a deep breath, squared her shoulders, and stepped into the glass conference room. "Good morning," she said, voice calm. "I'm Amara Lewis. For the next 30 days, I'll be acting CEO. Let's talk about what's broken and how we fix it." Silence. Finally, a senior VP chuckled. "Fix it? You think you can undo 2 years of losses in a month?" "No," Amara replied evenly. "But I can start by listening, something this company stopped doing a long time ago." Week 1. Listening. She met every department: engineering, marketing, logistics. Instead of PowerPoints, she brought notepads. She compiled the data, color-coded the charts, and by Friday had a 20-page truth report. Week 2. Innovation and simplification. Amara gathered the product and data teams. "We need to stop trying to impress investors and start serving humans," she said. Week 3. Rebuilding trust. Amara's third-week meeting started with a surprise. "Before we talk numbers," she said, "I want to reinstate the Employee Wellness Fund." Murmurs rippled around the room. "Morale is profit," she continued. "When people feel valued, creativity returns." That afternoon, she personally called 2 of Crosstech's oldest clients. Both had canceled major contracts. By the end of the call, they both had agreed to reopen negotiations. Week 4. The presentation. At month's end, the board assembled for the scheduled review, expecting polite failure. Amara entered in a navy suit, laptop under arm, pulse steady. She presented hard data. Revenue projections up 19% quarter to date. Customer satisfaction up 43%. Employee engagement up 58%. New product pre-order waitlist, 42,000 units. Then she clicked to the final slide. Rebuild complete, but future depends on accountability. She looked directly at Ethan, seated silently at the end of the table. "Leadership isn't about ownership," she said. "It's about stewardship. This company doesn't need a hero. It needs a team that listens." For a long moment, no one spoke. Then the board erupted. Applause, disbelief, excitement. Ethan's chest tightened. Pride, envy, admiration, all tangled into one ache. The intern he'd mocked had done what he couldn't: remind Crosstech how to feel alive again. That night, as rain streaked the city windows, Ethan sent her a message. "Impressive month. Meet tomorrow. Let's discuss next steps." He stared at the screen before pressing send. Something told him next steps would change everything. For both of them. If success proved your boss wrong, would you forgive him or make him face the same humiliation he gave you? Comment below. What would you do if the power flipped overnight? After 30 days, Amara presents her results to Crosstech's board. The company is thriving again. Ethan Cross, surprised and conflicted, downplays her success. But the board proposes keeping her in leadership. Later, Amara uncovers financial discrepancies tied to Ethan's private firm, revealing he diverted company funds. Confronted, Ethan admits it, but defends his actions as business. Amara challenges his ethics, sparking a heated exchange that exposes both his pride and her integrity. Word spreads of their clash, dividing the board. Amid growing tension, Ethan reads employee messages praising Amara's leadership. Moved by guilt and respect, he tells her to keep her position, admitting she inspires him to be better. Amara urges honesty, with himself and others. For the first time, Ethan shows vulnerability, and both face the question, can power and trust coexist? The morning headlines hit before sunrise. Crosstech under audit. Internal discrepancies discovered. Phones buzzed across the city. Investors panicked. The press smelled blood. By 8 a.m., Ethan's office was full of damage control teams. Greg stood in the doorway, pale. The SEC wants a statement within 48 hours, he said. Ethan rubbed his temples. If we don't manage this right, we lose everything. Then he looked up. And there she was, Amara. She'd come straight from the early train, calm amid the chaos. Let me help, she said simply. The room went quiet. The last time they'd spoken, she'd accused him of hiding money. Now, she was volunteering to stand beside him. He studied her, torn between pride and gratitude. You really want to wade into this mess? I already am, she replied. We both are. By noon, the boardroom turned into a war room. For the first time, Ethan and Amara sat as equals. Step 1. Transparency. Amara pushed to release a full audit before the media could. Ethan hesitated, then agreed. The memo revealed everything, and employees, shocked but relieved, began to trust again. Step 2. Investor confidence. Ethan reconnected with old partners, this time with Amara beside him. She turned his corporate jargon into honesty. Her approach worked. One investor even doubled their funding. Step 3. Public trust. Amara hosted a live Q&A with staff and customers. Tough questions flew. Ethan answered, because she made me. She reminded me that leadership without integrity is just ego with a corner office. The line went viral. That night, after the cameras were gone and the offices finally quieted, Ethan walked Amara to the elevator. The air between them was different, soft, charged, unguarded. You didn't have to stay, he said quietly. She looked at him. I did. This isn't about you anymore. It's about everyone who works here, about what Crosstech can still be. He smiled faintly. You sound like the CEO. She tilted her head. Maybe that's what scares you. A long pause. Then he said, You think I'm scared of you? I think you're scared of needing someone, she answered. The elevator doors opened, and neither of them moved. For the first time since he built his empire, Ethan felt something he hadn't in years. Not fear of loss, but fear of losing her. Over the next week, Ethan and Amara worked side by side. Long hours, constant calls, steady progress. She listened to everyone. He started doing the same. Together they launched Project Rebuild, Phase A, real-time dashboards to prevent losses. Phase B, cross-team innovation meetings. Phase C, profit sharing to reward employees. Within 10 days, productivity rose 22%. Numbers don't lie, Amara said. Neither do people, Ethan replied. That night, Greg warned them the board planned a secret meeting, possibly replacing leadership entirely. Ethan sighed. Success makes people greedy. As they faced the coming decision, one thing was clear. They were no longer rivals, but partners. When you finally find an ally in the middle of chaos, do you trust them completely, or keep a part of yourself guarded? Comment below. Have you ever trusted someone you once doubted? The day after the storm, Crosstech's offices felt unnervingly quiet. The board's emergency meeting was only hours away, but Amara could barely focus. She was tired of fighting, of proving herself, of trying to keep the company together when it seemed determined to fall apart again. Then came a knock. Ethan stood in her doorway, no suit jacket this time, just a man who looked like he hadn't slept in days. I need to tell you something before that meeting, he said quietly. He led her down to the lower archive floor. Dim lights, shelves of boxed records. The air smelled of dust and regret. Ethan stopped at a metal cabinet and pulled out a folder labeled Archive, Project Kestrel. Inside were contracts, memos, and a newspaper clipping. 5 years ago, he said, voice barely steady, Crosstech launched Kestrel, a clean energy subsidiary. It was my passion project, the one thing that was supposed to redefine who I was. She scanned the pages, projections, signatures, budgets. Then she saw the line item, Consultant, Lillian Hartman. Amara looked up. The name sounds familiar. He nodded. She was my business partner, and the woman I was supposed to marry. He took a slow breath. She stole it all. Every patent, every dollar. Walked away with half the company's cash and sold it to our competitor. I covered the losses by moving assets into a shell account. Mine. Because if the shareholders had seen the books, they'd have buried us. I told myself it was temporary, but it made me the villain of my own story. He looked at her then, eyes heavy. That's why I mocked you, Amara. When you told me you believed in compassion in business, I wanted to crush it out of you. Because I'd convinced myself compassion was a weakness that ruins you. Silence stretched between them, raw and human. Amara set the folder down gently. You weren't protecting the company. You were protecting your pain. He gave a bitter smile. And you tore down the walls I built around it. Amara turned away, blinking fast. When I came here, I just wanted to learn. I never expected any of this. But somewhere along the way, I started caring more about this place than my own career. She hesitated, then added, and maybe I started caring about you too. Ethan froze, just long enough for her to notice. Don't, he said softly. Don't make me feel something I don't deserve. Then earn it, she replied. Their eyes locked. No longer mentor and intern, no longer CEO and subordinate, but two people who'd been running from themselves. An alert buzzed on Ethan's phone. Board meeting in 30 minutes. He exhaled sharply. They'll ask for someone's head today. Mine, probably. Amara studied him. What if we get ahead of them? Meaning? We show them transparency, the whole truth, but I'll lead it. Ethan's eyes widened. They'll crucify you. Not if I present the audit myself. If they see me as the one who saved Crosstech and kept you in line, they'll trust me. And if it means firing you to protect everything we've built. He stared at her. You'd do that? She swallowed hard. If it's the only way forward. Yes. The silence was sharp enough to cut through air. Then he nodded slowly. Then do it right, he said. Fire me for the truth, not revenge. The boardroom brimmed with tension. Cameras, legal counsel, the press outside the glass walls. Amara took the lead. Her voice was calm, unwavering. She walked them through the audit, the crisis, the recovery plan. She laid bare Ethan's financial transfers, then the reason behind them. Whispers spread like wildfire. In conclusion, she said, Crosstech stands on the edge of a new chapter. But for transparency to mean anything, accountability must follow. She turned to Ethan. He was watching her, eyes clear. No resentment, only acceptance. Effective immediately, she said. I recommend that Mr. Ethan Cross step down as CEO. The board members looked stunned. Then one by one, they nodded. Amara's heart pounded as she continued. This company needs a leader who reflects its rebirth. I accept full responsibility for the reforms and transition. With Mr. Cross's consent, I'll take the interim position. The vote passed, unanimous. Ethan rose slowly. Then consider it done, he said. Crosstech is yours, Amara. After the meeting, he found her alone in the empty corridor. You did what I couldn't, he said. You told the truth. She looked up. I didn't do it to you. I did it for the company, for all of us. He smiled faintly. You fired me. You told me to. Doesn't make it hurt less. He stepped closer, then stopped. Amara, whatever happens next, Don't let them turn you into what I was. Then don't disappear, she said. Stay. Advise me. Teach me what you know, without the ego. He chuckled softly. That's a tall order. You managed miracles once, she said. Do it again. For the first time, he laughed. Genuine, light. The wound was still raw, but something inside both of them had shifted. Healing. Would you have had the courage to fire someone you admired, if it was the only way to save what you loved? Comment your thoughts below. What would you have done in Amara's place? The next morning, sunlight cut through the skyline and poured over the Crosstech Tower. A city that once whispered rumors of collapse now hummed with quiet awe. Amara Lewis, once the intern nobody noticed, now stood at the top floor, the new CEO of Crosstech Industries. Her name, her face, her story, already trending everywhere. But the triumph didn't feel like she imagined it would. Her heart was heavy with everything that victory had cost. Ethan arrived early, long before the press conference. No entourage, no arrogance, just a leather briefcase and a folded letter. He stepped into her office, his office once, and smiled faintly. So this is what the view looks like when you've done it right, he said. Amara gestured to the chair across from her. You don't need to go, she said softly. Yeah, I do, he replied. The company deserves someone unafraid of the truth. That's you. He set the letter on her desk. My resignation in writing, along with one more thing. The patent rights to Kestrel. They're yours now. Do something good with them. Her throat tightened. Why are you giving this to me? Because I built it out of pain, he said. Maybe you'll rebuild it out of purpose. For a long moment, they just stood there. Silence full of everything unspoken. Then she reached out her hand. Thank you, Ethan, for trusting me, even when it was too late. He smiled. No, you taught me that it's never too late. By noon, the boardroom overflowed with reporters, investors, and cameras. Amara took the podium, steady but emotional. A month ago, I was an intern who believed that empathy could belong in business. Most people laughed. One person gave me a chance, even if it started as a joke. The audience chuckled. Ethan, standing quietly in the back, lowered his head. But leadership isn't about titles, she continued. It's about trust, courage, and learning when to step aside so someone else can rise. Today isn't just about Crosstech's recovery. It's about rewriting what leadership means. The room erupted in applause. For the first time, Ethan clapped too. Genuine, proud, free. Weeks passed. Under Amara's leadership, Crosstech 2.0 launched. Transparent profit dashboards accessible to all employees. A mentorship fund for women in tech and entrepreneurship. Kestrel reborn as a community energy project in Detroit, the city where she'd grown up. Within 3 months, profits surged by 41%, employee satisfaction hit record highs, and investors dubbed the turnaround the Crosstech miracle. And yet, Amara never forgot who helped ignite it. One evening, as autumn settled over Manhattan, Amara stepped out of a town hall event to find Ethan waiting by the lobby's glass doors. No cameras, no scripts, just two people who'd walked through fire. I saw the numbers, he said, smiling. You did it? We did it, she corrected. He laughed softly. Still too humble for a CEO. Still too proud for a consultant? She teased. He hesitated. You'd have me back? Not as your boss, she said with a grin. As my partner, we're building a foundation to teach young leaders how to rebuild failing companies ethically. You're the best teacher I know, if you're ready to teach differently this time. He thought for a moment, then extended his hand. Deal. Their hands met, firm, familiar, forgiving. Later that night, they stood on the balcony overlooking the city lights. Neither spoke for a long time. Finally, Ethan said quietly, "You know, the day you fired me, I thought you'd ruined me. Turns out you saved me." Amara smiled. "Maybe we saved each other." The wind caught her hair, carrying her words into the skyline. Power doesn't define people, Ethan. What they do when they lose it does. He looked at her, the woman who'd turned his empire and his heart upside down, and for the first time in years, he truly felt free. He let his intern run his company for a month, and she fired him. But in losing his title, he found his purpose, and in taking his place, she found her voice. Sometimes the greatest act of leadership is letting someone else lead. Would you have had the courage to make the same call? To fire your mentor, your boss, maybe even someone you cared about? Comment below. Was she right, or was there another way? Thank you for staying until the end of this story. If even a single moment, a look, or a word touched your heart, don't just scroll away. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what part made you feel the most. Your words, your support, they're what keep this family of stories alive.